Hey everybody, it's Jillian. So second or third day of me changing the rules of the group, configuring the group, the way in which I want my society to run and be like, and who I want in my society, in my world. It's been very interesting, very, very interesting. So the whole premise of Jilly Juice is to be a very independent society where you are contributing, and if you can't contribute, then you are silent and you are an observer. And I don't like questions, really. I don't like complainers. I want people to follow directions because everything is laid out in the videos that are in the pinned post in my group. And then if you have a question or a concern about anything like dehydration or anything else, you can go to my YouTube videos and search for dehydration and see how Jilly Juice would not dehydrate anybody or anything because it's electrolytes. And so it's been a very interesting, I would say, experience watching the newbies in my group try to figure out how to navigate. And I know my hair is kind of weird. And since I've simplified everything as far as the Jilly Juice recipe, I simplified the information so that way if you had a question or a concern, you can find the video that would cover that. We've made it so easy now that there should be nobody that couldn't follow directions or sit back and observe. Now, in the beginning, when we were in research and development, yes, we were babying everybody through because we were still doing research and development, and we were giving people, piecemeal on why it is the diet's the way it is, why it is, what's in the Jilly Juice, and why it's like a great thing. And so, yes, in the beginning, when we were doing research and development, we were babying everybody through. But now we've made it. So easy that even a monkey, a caveman, could potentially follow the directions. And if you have any fears, and if you're an analyzer or a doubter, and you're trying to ask questions in my group, you're out. There should be no questions at all unless you've already made the juice and you're drinking it and you post a picture in my group that shows that you've made it already. You had absolutely no help from anybody. As far as the group. Now, you can ask your friends and family if they've done any kind of, fermentation, fine. But the directions in my video are pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I'm actually showing you how to do it step by step. Okay? The explanation of why the Jilly Juice is very life-giving and non-dehydrative and very, very healthy with the potential to regenerate cells and release the excess is very clear in the videos. And so there should be nobody asking anybody in my group to explain to them why Jilly Juice is so amazing. There should be nobody asking really anything. Now, the only thing that I'm okay with is if you want clarification on, hey, I can't find cabbage, what would you suggest? Oh, hey, how do you guys, grow cabbage? What would you suggest and how would you do it? Whatever, that's fine. Right, Rachel. If you made the juice and you're not sure if it's made correctly, you think it's too thick or too thin or whatever, hey, take a snapshot of the juice, take a picture, post it in the group, say, hey, you guys, I just made the juice. I haven't drinking it yet, but that's okay. Just wanted to get your feedback on how this juice looks to you. And we will give you feedback because we're like, damn, you've taken initiative. You've made the juice. You had absolutely no help from anybody. Hey, Anthony and Vicky Moraes. And you were like, gung-ho. You're like, I'm just going to do it. And I'm not going to care if I make a mistake or not because you really can't mess up with the juice. You really can't. And as far as drinking it and understanding it and what to expect, well, that's already been explained as far as predispositions, pre-existing conditions, and the energizing force of the juice. And if you've been paying attention in any way, shape, or form, you would understand that. And those that don't, I did invite people into the group that said that they were not sure, but they want to kick back and chill out and watch. Okay, fine. Until they ask a question. oh my God, somebody explain to me how it's not dehydrated. Is there a way is there a way to control the waterfalls and all? I mean, and so I blocked that person, and I actually kicked him out of the group. And someone else is like, oh, they're full of drama in my group. They're like, oh, I wish you'd name the type of salt, which the type of salt that people can use is all over in my group. If you just do a search or go to the announcements, we cover everything about the salt, where you can get it from. If you're like in Australia, if you're in the UK, if you're in the USA, it's all been covered. And then you're asking, well, can we use pink cabbage or purple cabbage? Or not pink, but purple cabbage or green cabbage? And I'm like, what kind of freaking question is that? And I'm going to say, you know what? Nobody answered that question. You read the recipe. Oh, no. It's not enough. If you need reassurance, if you need to know what kind of salt, if you need to know what type of cabbage, if you need to know what kind of water, when it's pretty much laid out, okay? Now, I understand people say, like, what is 7 pH? Am I going to have to... Here's the thing why I put 7 pH. Because those that have those machines where you can turn it to 9 or 10 alkaline or 7 pH neutral, if you have a machine that will turn it alkaline or neutral, just do it to 7 pH. But tap water and filtered water, bottled water, all fine. Well water, all fine. Okay? But some people analyze too much. They read into it too much. They need reassurance. They're so fearful. They're so this or they're so that. No, done. Not, because here's the thing. I've talked to some people, some friends, and I'm like, there are so many parasites in our society. I'm trying to get rid of parasites in my group. And we have parasites in our society, and this coronavirus is going to take away those that are so weak, that are so parasitic, that are so non-contributive to our society, that are just taking. And we want to have strong people in my group and on the Daily Juice protocol, and we want strong people in our society so we have a backbone of society. Yes, thank you, Melrose. The Kagan water system, yes. And so the whole point of the Daily Juice is to create a very strong society, a very strong group where we don't have one person or two people completely sucking the life of everybody in that group. We have people share, like Christina Morris, like, Melrose, like Pip, and like John Morgan, John Coronado. All of you guys are just sharing your experience. You've made the juice. You are drinking it, you've done a video, or you give your background on what you're dealing with and what you hope to gain from it, and that's it. It's nothing like, well, what kind of song? Because let me tell you, that 60,000 person group drove me crazy because of the same questions over and over again. So finally, 4 years later, we have now perfected, and I figured out what type of people are out there in the world. There are the contributors, the gung-ho contributors. There are the analyzers and the doubters, the cynics. And then there are the drama people. They're full of drama, and they have to have everybody reassure them. And then there are the silent observers. They don't say too much. They're just kind of watching, and they're observing and judging, and that's fine. And then one day they will do the juice, because they see, obviously, it's not hurting anybody, and they understand the symptoms, they understand pre-existing conditions, and they understand it's not going to dehydrate, and they absolutely have no fear because they've been watching from the sidelines, and they are silently taking things in, and they're watching the videos, and they're keeping track of the information. So, the two people in the society that I really don't want to deal with are the weak-ass, drama-filled people, as well as the doubters, the cynics, the skeptics. Now, I could see if I was like some cult leader that hasn't substantiated anything that I did through science, and that's what the OAG, when I first talked to the OAG, when they were asking me the 10 questions to substantiate my claims when everyone's freaking going crazy, or like, I was talking to the lady, the lawyer that was overseeing my case, and she was like, well, we just want you to write some kind of paper or substantiation to answer these 10 questions. And I'm like, wow, okay. So do I need to give sources? I mean, basically it was like a term paper. It was like a post, or it's like a doctoral thesis. That's what I kind of essentially wrote. It was a doctoral thesis to the OAG with the information I had at the time. And she was like, well, I don't want a manifesto. So they were assuming that I was some kind of cult leader that had this manifesto about like, we're going to live forever and we're going to be this, whatever. And you're going to drink this weird thing and everyone's going to be all happy, go lucky. And that's what they were thinking. No, I've substantiated everything through science, everything. Okay. And so, when you can substantiate through science, through academia, through biotech, when you can substantiate through the systems that we have in place that keeps law and order, then all you have to do is follow the fucking directions. All you have to do is shut the F up, follow the directions, do it, and report on it if you want to. That's it. No, there is no hand-holding in the group. None. If you need to be handheld, you got to go back into the system and take your pills, powder supplements, and detoxes and get your immunotherapies and your surgeries and get all those things. And then you will have a very predictable outcome. But I'm telling you, this new world order, this coronavirus, they are the equalizing force. They are getting rid of the useless eaters, the people who cannot contribute, the people who do not know how to be on their own, be independent in such a way. Okay, in such a way that that you're able to keep your society going relatively smooth. The fact that we have crime, the fact that we have domestic violence and wars is because we have the weak ass people in our society who haven't figured out how to contribute in such a productive way. So we have to constantly keep policing them. Okay, well, this coronavirus can get rid of those that are causing all this ruckus. And then Melrose, I'm not sure how you were able to manage that big. Oh, I had a bunch of moderators I had to deal with too. I had about 10 moderators that I had to also manage with all of their idiosyncrasies and their agendas and their issues. And most of those moderators in the beginning were the ones that were having the campaigns against me. They were the ones that called the OAG. They're the ones that called the FBI, Interpol. What else? They were the ones that caused all of the craziness. They're the ones that called Dr. Phil. But it had to happen. So I had help, but I had dramatic help, full of drama. And then they're the ones that caused people they were the ones that were terrorizing people in my group. They were the ones that were calling the CPS and calling the Humane Society, calling the police on every single person that was doing the protocol. But it had to happen that way. So you have to look at this coronavirus as well as the Jilly Juice as a balancing force to let people go who aren't going to contribute to this earth in a balanced way. And I give a little bit of leeway to some people, but I don't give a lot. When I say I'm not babying people, and then you want to defend them by saying, well, you babied us in the beginning. Yeah, it was in the beginning. And guess what? It's called evolution. This protocol has evolved from me holding your hand in the beginning to now I've given you all the information in a nice, neat little package, whether it's a book or a video or a recipe. Now, if you can't even follow that, then you're not part of the Jilly Juice world. You can go back there and try your luck with the coronavirus and see if you can measure up. Some of you can, some of you cannot. And guess what? This whole thing with the coronavirus, it will not let up. It will not. It's like a ping pong. You may survive. If you don't do the Jilly Juice, you may survive the first wave. You may have enough to survive the first wave. But guess what? It'll mutate, and then there'll be a second wave of reinfection because it mutates. And so it'll keep every single year, this coronavirus is going to keep, and it'll mutate. It'll keep chipping away at your weaknesses until there's nothing left. And so that is going to be the balancing force on 7 billion people, which 99.9999% are so full of predispositions that they won't survive the mutations of this virus because they will fail to keep up with their body. They will disregard any kind of precautions. They will assume they're invincible. I know some young millennials that think they're invincible. They think, oh yeah, this is time to go and capitalize on the cheap rates and go travel and be a freaking super spreader. Okay, fine. You may survive this first wave because you're young and you're cute and you're whatever. But wait, if if you're not keeping up on the Jilly Juice protocol and then there's a second wave of infection and you're getting older and you're not doing the Jilly Juice protocol, guess what? You're going to get affected. You'll be one of those that you'll have to stay at home because you can't risk being exposed to someone who is a super spreader. And then guess what? Then you're taking down another notch. And then you take down another notch. So you have to regenerate and release exponentially faster than how aggressive these viruses mutate. If you are not keeping up with your body faster than the viruses are mutating, you will end up the shorter end of the stick. You will. And so that's why this protocol exists to begin with, is because it knows that there is a balancing force that's going to take down most of you who are not taking your body seriously. And this is interesting. I'm going to be 48 in the year of the tiger. Okay? And that is my year because I'm a year of the tiger. It'll be 2022. 8 is infinity. Bridget Lee, she was on Dr. Phil with me. She'll be 58 in 2022. We're both the year of the tiger. 8 is infinity. I'm telling you, this Jilly Juice, what I'm doing was supposed to happen. Was supposed to happen. And the timing of it all is so crazy. And me finding my husband back in 2010, and we got married in 2011, and I left California from all the yuppies, all the college-educated yuppies, to marry someone, a trucker. He wasn't even a trucker at the time. He was some blue-collar dude that I found on Fast Flirt. Okay? Met him without really knowing him. I sort of like met him through, like talked on telephone and private message or whatever. But physically meeting him here in 2010 of October. And I could have been cut up and, and murdered, but no, my gut knew this was the guy I needed to be with. And I fought for his ass. And this is the thing, I basically broke every rule. Of like, you don't go after a guy, you don't fight for a dude, you let the dude come to you. And that's how these women are taught, that you never go after a guy. But when you know something, when you feel something, you know something is right and correct, and you don't even know why you feel it's right and correct, but you do at the time, you act on your gut. Because you never know what it's going to give you down the road. Why it is that you did this right then and there. Because it may serve you 10 years later. But you have to figure out, is it worth? But, and that's where you have to, back then I wasn't doing the Jilly Juice protocol back in 2010. It was more for survival than anything else. But, survivors are the ones that will figure the stuff out. The ones that don't care are going to just do whatever and not care and disregard any kind of warnings and just live for the moment and then die with the moment. Well, that's not me. That's not the Jilly Juice protocol. We have a very specific process. We have a very specific, intention. And I think there is definitely an order to this universe. And either you're for life or you're against life. Either you can be brave and unfearful and understand how to balance the elements and how to balance your microbiome with the right, chemistry, or you try your luck with all the different anti-inflammatories, discrimination games, diets, and detoxes and exercises. And you watch people around you start decaying and degrading or accelerating that process. Okay? So there's only 2 absolutes. That's what I learned from the Federal Trade Commission. There are no absolutes. Well, yes, there are. There are 2 absolutes, life and death. Okay? The cure is out there, not an absolute. Even Jilly Juice is not an absolute because you could just stop it in the middle of it and then you go back to then the death trajectory. But life and death are the 2 absolutes. Either you follow the formula of life or you follow the formula of death. That's it. And so either you follow the directions in the group and you kick back and hang back if you're fearful. And if you have questions and you're uncertain, then you know what? You observe more. You study, you observe more, but no one's teaching anybody in my group how to make the juice because it's already been taught in the video. And if you don't have access to videos, then you better get something or find someone that will give you access to watch a video. Because everything is going online now. There is no face-to-face. You're not getting somebody to come to your house and make the juice for you. You're not getting someone on the phone and be like, okay, I'm going to walk you through this. That's not going to happen. We are now into a new world where everything is online. And it's going to happen that way because it's going to be more transparent that way. That's how they're going to see who's balanced and who's imbalanced. I mean, we're back. We're in the Minority Report days. We're in the precog days. We're in the future right now, you guys. The future is now. Transparency. It's what John Oakes was saying in not so many words when I was saying that the New World Order is where now everything is online so people can see who are the imbalanced people, who are the balanced people. We can watch them and figure out who's going to potentially commit a crime and who is actually going to lead the human race in a very great direction. Okay? So there's no more hiding behind shit. No more, playing footsie with stupid stuff. Now it's like either put up or shut up. And so, can you make money online without babying somebody, having to hold their hand, literally and figuratively? Because that's where we're coming to. The ones that are strong are going to survive all this. The ones that are strong are going to understand the Julie Juice protocol. Because if you're not doing Julie Juice protocol, the viruses that are out there right now, with 7 billion people who are totally mutated and with cancer, disease, and chronic illness, is going to keep chipping away at you. The mutations keep chipping away at you. At your kids, at you. And so you have to understand the power of cabbage, water, and salt. Fermentation. Okay? It's so easy, it's difficult for some people to even grasp. I have people in my high school class that have died from pancreatic cancer. That was completely preventable. But no, his friends and his family were all giving him cannabis. We're all trying to do the whole immunotherapies and the chemotherapies and all these different therapies that were basically destroying him. But could I say anything? No. Because that's the world that he came from. That was the world that he chose to be in. Okay? And so now we are now entering into a new, brave new world where you have to be brave. And my group is kind of like a vetting process. Are you going to be able to handle the brave new world? Or are you going to then try to exhibit the same characteristics in the old world of shortcuts, fear, and parasitism? Parasites have a place, but when you have too much parasitic qualities, guess what? You got to have a balancing force to shut down somebody sucking the life out of you in body, mind, and spirit. I mean, if you're going to take, you better give just as equal, if not more. Because that's the whole thing with the testimonies. It's not that you're looking for a testimony so that way it can justify you doing it. If you don't see a testimony, then you be the fucking testimony. Your hope is going to be in you, not in somebody else. And that's a brave new world where you're not looking for a guru, a leader, someone to put all your hopes in. No, it's now about you doing the juice, doing the protocol, understanding it. You be the hope for the world for somebody else. Don't look for hope in other people. You be the hope in other people. So yeah, we're entering into a whole new world, and the vaccines are going to be a transition. People are afraid of vaccines. Okay, well, you should be if you're not doing the JJs. But yeah, so my group is kind of it's a microcosm of the larger world at hand. And I don't deal well with weakness. I don't deal with people who don't follow directions. I don't deal well with people who doubt, who are analyzers, who undermine, who are full of drama queens and kings, who need someone to hold their hand. That was the old group. The old group was more of the same of what was going on in society. But now the Jilly Juice has evolved. I have evolved. The protocol has evolved. The people in my group who are doing the J-Juice have evolved. Some get it, some don't, and I kick them out. The ones that don't get it, I kick them out. And I have no remorse for it. Because the information is still out there for free. The YouTube video and how to make it is still out there. It's for free. You got to find it, though. You got to be resourceful. And so the ones that want to live will find every way to find the information and follow the directions because they understand that we don't have time. My people in my group do not have time to carry people who are not willing to carry themselves. If somebody down the street, I get it, I feel bad. There are people that are poor. There are homeless out there. But you know what? Can you give all of yourself to people that are not willing to take care of themselves? At what point do you actually draw the line? I understand a temporary here, you had a hard time, okay, fine. But when it becomes a consistent pattern where you're just taking and taking, and you're not lifting yourself by your own bootstraps, that's when you have to cut the cord. And so I've made it so easy. And I got rid of the people that were trying to make money off me, who were trying to turn this into a paywall. I got rid of those people that are trying to do that. We don't hide behind a paywall. The information's for free. The community is a place where you can mix with people who understand it, but we're not going to be coddling you. We're not going to be instructing you. We're not going to tell you. We're not going to instruct you on anything. We're just a place where we're sharing our experiences. And then if you see yourself in somebody, then you'll see, okay, there's my possibility. And then you do it. And you be that inspiration to somebody else. And that's all my group is. Okay? So I'm excited for the future. It's not fun watching people die and hearing all the numbers, but it was going to happen anyways. How many of you are on that death trajectory? How many of you have been dealing with your comorbidities and you thought you had 10 years and now the environment is that much more aggressive and you haven't figured out how to adapt? You were going to eventually die anyways. Oh, you didn't want to die today, but you believe in death. Those that think that those that don't understand indefinite life or don't want to believe in definite life, you believe in death. So this should be really no surprise to you. Okay, this really should be no concern. You shouldn't be unhappy. If you believe in death, people should die, then so be it. But I don't believe people should die. I don't think that humans were meant to die unless they were violating the laws of life. And when you violate the laws of life, there are consequences. When you follow the laws of life, then you will have continuous life. But if you violate the laws of life, then death is the outcome. And so if you believe in death, then there should be no reason why you're on the protocol. You should not be in my group if you still believe in death. If you think people should die, whether today or down the road, then you should not be on the protocol. And so that's the new ideas. That's the new world that I don't even think the people that wrote the Georgia Guidestones even considered. But now they did talk about guiding reproduction carefully. But what does that mean, guiding reproduction carefully? If you have so many people who are having kids on generational compound predispositions, the gap between life and death is going to get smaller and smaller to where people are going to be born sterile. And then what? They're going to have a bank of babies somewhere over there underground where they're going to release them at some point. And they're the ones that are doing all the essential industries, the essential jobs. I mean, I don't know what exactly is going on out there as far as things that we don't see. But now we have the potential to be the ones to not only survive this, but thrive in this environment. And if you can not only survive, but thrive in this aggressive environment, you have all the hope for humanity. You are the hope for humanity. Because it's going to take a very specific type of person to be able to handle what's coming down the line. We haven't even scratched the surface of what we're going to be experiencing as far as the amount of casualties. So you can be the casualty, or you can fight against it and become one of those that will be able to thrive and survive in this environment. And I hope you do. And I know who are the ones that'll be able to do it, and I know who aren't the ones. And I kick out the ones that won't be able to handle my environment, much less the environment out here. So that's my role of the group, is I keep my group pure, full of the strong people. And so the people that get mad at me because I'm not catering to their drama, they'll call me mean-spirited, they'll call me a bitch, they'll call me all these things. You know why? Because they chose not to follow directions. They chose to be one of those that are full of drama, that want to be carried, when everything is laid out for them. All they have to do is just open up a link, watch a video, do a little research. I've done basically 99% of the research. The rest is up to you. All you got to do is read my information, watch a video. It's not that difficult. So if you can't handle my group the way I have everything laid out, you won't be able to handle society. I don't have any time for you. All right. Have a good day. Bye.